Evening, folks. Coffee's fresh tonight. Grab a cup and pull up a chair here at booth 7. Had a young driver slide into the booth tonight and ask me a question I wasn't quite expecting. He looked over and said, "Sarge, how much money is enough money?" Now that's not a question recruiters get very often. Usually it's, how much CPM, how many miles, how fast can I get a raise? But this one was different. He told me he'd been running hard for about 4 years. 3 weeks out, sometimes 4, taking every extra load, every holiday run, every weekend dispatch could throw at him. Said he was making more money than he'd ever made in his life. New pickup, nice house, money in the bank. Everything looked good on paper. Then he got quiet for a minute, took a sip of coffee and looked out the window. Then he said, "Sarge, I think my little girl forgot I was supposed to be at her birthday party." That one landed pretty hard. He said his wife had sent pictures, cake, balloons, family gathered around the table, and there was an empty chair sitting there where Dad was supposed to be. Dispatcher called. Good paying load, needed somebody reliable. He took it like he always did. Now before anybody gets fired up in the comments, I'm not beating up on hard work. This industry runs because good men and women miss holidays, miss birthdays, miss anniversaries, miss baseball games, miss dance recitals. Trucking doesn't stop because it's Christmas. Freight doesn't care if it's your anniversary. The country keeps moving because drivers keep moving. But there comes the point where you gotta ask yourself a question. Am I making a living or am I making a payment? Because those are two very different things. I've known drivers who made $120,000 a year and couldn't tell you what grade their kid was in. I've known drivers who chased every bonus, every incentive, every extra load they could get, and 20 years later they had a beautiful retirement account and grown children they barely knew. One old driver told me something years ago that stuck with me. He said, "Sarge, nobody ever sits on the porch at 70 years old wishing they'd missed one more birthday party." Hard to argue with that. Now the flip side is true too. Bills have to be paid. Families have to eat. Sometimes you've got to do what you've got to do, especially when you're young. Especially when you're building something. There's honor in that. Nothing wrong with hard work. But if your kid is asking when you're coming home, and your answer is always one more load, eventually those loads start stacking up. One more load becomes one more month. One more month becomes one more year. One more year becomes, where did the time go? The young driver sitting across from me finally asked, "So what should I do?" I told him, only you can answer that question. Every family is different. Every situation is different. But I can tell you this, the truck will be there tomorrow. The freight will be there tomorrow. The company will find another driver tomorrow if they have to. But your little girl only turns 8 once. Your son only hits his first home run once. Your anniversary only comes around so many times before somebody stops celebrating them. I've recruited drivers for a long time. I've talked to thousands of them. And if there's one thing I've learned, most drivers don't regret the money they didn't make. They regret the moments they weren't there to see. So if you're out there tonight chasing miles, chasing bonuses, chasing one more load, just make sure you remember what you're chasing it for in the first place. That's all for tonight, folks. Coffee cup's empty and booth 7's about to close down for the evening. Drive safe, make good decisions. And if somebody's waiting for you at home, don't make them wait forever. I'll see you next Tuesday night here at booth 7.